next session that we have been waiting for all evening. We have with us our chief guest, Miss Sona Mohapatra, a singer who doesn't really need much of an introduction, but I will still not try to heap praises on you. But from a conversion with a leader on screen and to off it, her voice is as powerful as a conviction. She's a versatile singer and a powerhouse performer. And with a soulful voice, that creative genius that Sona Mohapatra is, she's managed to captivate audiences with her work across genres, from classical music to contemporary, Bollywood soundtracks and fusion. She has composed music and written lyrics too, exhibiting her skills as a multifaceted artist. And her documentary, Shut Up Sona, is an eye-opener on how difficult women find just being women and how it takes one voice at a time to challenge status quo. I invite Ms. Sona Mohapatra to join me for a conversation. Good evening to everybody. We have been waiting, saving the best for the last. And my co-host is Kartik Malhotra.
Good evening, everybody, again. Good evening, Sona, and thank you so much for being here with us.
And thank you for being patient.
No, actually, I've really enjoyed sitting through all the lovely sessions. I missed a certain amount in the middle.
Begin by asking, it's been over 2 decades of your illustrious career. You've tried several genres, fusion, folk, contemporary, Bollywood. But very few people over here would really know that Sona is actually a BTech, a graduate, and also an MBA. So all the talk that we were discussing over here, all the panel, you must have been most cued in and found it interesting. So how did music happen to you if you were from an engineering background?
Well, music has been part of my life from the very beginning. I don't think they are exclusive, you know. Academics, I pride myself in calling myself a nerd. I, in fact, was just right now, and I'm complimenting and being immodest here. I pride myself in being authentic. Why that journey took me onto music? I continue to use the background that I come from, which was fairly, you know, it was about discipline, it was about waking up every day and putting in the time. And I think all of that is just as critical when it comes to any career where you need to lead. And when I say lead in India, people assume the biggest mainstream playback singer is a leader of the field. Maximum number of film songs defines your worth, cultural worth. I believe, again, I will just give this preamble of cultural currency to me means much more than having that many hits where some other actor is parroting my song, which I go and spend all of 2 hours singing because of the craft and the riyaz and the sadhana. I mean, kudos to that. But coming to my journey, I've always believed that leadership starts when you choose to walk off the well-trodden path. I knew very well from the very beginning that I was not pursuing this break in playback singing. I wanted to be the face behind the voice. I wanted my face to be my voice. My biggest dream was to be a performing artist. Nothing fuels me more than a live stage. And every time people interviewed me in the very beginning, because it's been a while, I think I'm heading towards my 20th year as an artist. All the questions in the beginning, because tab main thodi zyada patli thi also, I was, you know, probably, you know, shiny hair, fair and patli. So everybody was like, aap singer kyun banna chahte hain? Actor nahi, aap actor. And I was like, first of all, in India, people seem to think going to the gym or being sundar equal to acting dreams. I've never dreamt of being an actor. I've always dreamt of the stage. And I'm very proud of being part of this tribe of musicians in a country which truly, actually, you know, we have music lovers who value. You know, I was very moved by the fact that you gave me the shout out. I never take it for granted. Because back home in Bombay, whenever there is a, you know, a media event, there is an inherent caste system at play, where, you know, the singers or the musicians feature differently from the faces of the actors or the, you know. And I felt, okay, I'm in a good place here because these guys seem to know who the
Real bosses.
you know, because, and I was talking about cultural currency, because when you go to a stadium in, say, in Kerala, where I've spent time in my childhood, but they don't really tune in, they have their own industry, and I love Malayalam films, incidentally. I absolutely love the storytelling there. When they sing along to your songs, then you know that you have reached, and it's not, you know, it's not. So I've always believed that I'm not just a singer. I create culture, you know, with what I do. Because I've always produced my own music videos when people are, I've made a film. And in my music videos, at a time when everybody is chasing urban gloss, I choose to go to rural India. I wear dhotis and silver and glass bangles when people are choosing to wear the sexiest clothes in nightclubs and doing PT. You know, that was a phase. And now it suddenly turned viral, that film, that video I made, Ajave, which I made by selling my car, incidentally. It was on an EMI, it was a Santro car. And I auditioned actors from FTI, and they're all big stars now,
Exactly.
Rajkumar Rao and all. So I
Chetan
just
Bhagavat.
feel that, you know, when you are zigging, when the world is zagging, at that point of time, people don't get you, but eventually things catch up. So cultural currency is what I carry. And this currency is most valuable when it is spent on change. So I have believed that this cultural currency is something I'm most proud of, and it's the legacy I want to, you know, we talked about legacy in a different context, but to be able to speak my mind, be authentic, stick my neck out, get punished for being who I am, because I was thrown out of a reality show and I'm told you are too much of a muffat and controversial ho, you're too loud, and you speak your mind, and it mostly doesn't endear me to think the industry I belong to, but I've received so much of love.
Have you ever thought that being so Mufat, like you've mentioned, you also had a show called Shut Up Na Sona. I mean, the name itself, the title, what went behind it. But have you ever thought that because you are so fearless, you are unapologetic when you express yourself, your songs are also a reflection of your personality, have you ever had to bear the consequences of what you say that you had never factored in, that may come your way as far as industry is concerned?
Never factored in has never been the question. Everything I say and do is pretty much a considered decision. And while even when, you know, I worked in the FMCG industry, I was one of the first women to get into that hardcore sales function. And, you know, in those performance reviews where it would be the most, you know, like she's this bundle of fire, she is, I used to imagine myself to be some crazed out woman rolling around with, you know, like not having any thoughts in between my 2 ears. But she is so passionate, she gets the thing done, and ultimately, and it, you know, and I used to sit there and actually laugh, saying that people put you in a box, and I don't think it's men, women, I don't like to play that card all the time. I think as a personality, I fit in better being an artist, because at least artists, somewhere there's some leeway कि थोड़े eccentric होते हैं, idiosyncratic होते हैं. But yeah, when it comes down to our country, I think we've always had incredible artists outside of the, you know, we had a Kishore Kumar who was never towing the line, behaving.
Absolutely.
When I met Lata ji before she passed, once, you know, there was a, you realize why she was the empress, and not because she actually made up for all the non-actors. You know, I have a bone to pick with the actors today, please pardon me. I've always believed that our music has outlived our films.
Yes.
We've made music that is still, you know, when Lata ji sang Parbat ke Piche, Chambeda Gaon, she painted a picture. You don't even need to see the visuals to know that you're watching a story unfold. So coming back to Lata ji, she met me. She was in her 80s some years ago, or heading to 90 if I'm not wrong. She said, बेटा आपका जो वो जिया लागे ना गाना है ना, बहुत ही सुंदर लगता है, आप ऐसे गाने और गाओ, आपकी आवाज़ को सूट करता है, ठेठ भी है लेकिन बहुत, And you know, she went, and I was stunned because, you know, I'm there with Sunidhi and Shreya and all the mainstream, and I would think she won't even know me from Adam. But not only did she know of my music or what I have done and not done, she was cracking jokes on lyrics, on politics, I mean, she was connecting the dots, sharp as a tack. And then you realize leaders in various fields, because we are at the conclave celebrating impact and leadership, and you know, I believe, you know, leaders are of different kinds. And she was not just Ma Saraswati or this, you know, we tend to make women goddesses. Like in India, truly, that goddess and the slut. There are these conundrums, and there are very few colors in between. You are either this or that, and of course that's changing now. But I don't know where I fit in, but I love celebrating this idea of contradictions, of sometimes I'm defensive, you have to pardon me. Net, in my life, I've had as many wonderful men as allies, maybe even more so, because when it came to the Me Too movement and even otherwise, I just realized I've had a journey which has taught me things real time. When you realize that making those sound bites, saying that the future is fearless and female, I will say something controversial all over again. I don't believe the future is female. I think the future is us together, men and women, you know, dreaming, creating, building, and leading together. Because, yeah.
So, Sona, I want to step in, and before the women on the stage, and I'm definitely not being sexist, I'll get beaten up right here, but before the women don't let me barge in, I decided I should. I want to understand, you know, globally, and since you're talking culture and since you're talking this cultural connection, I want to understand globally. For some reason, I believe Indian music has not been able to go global, at least in recent times, as, let's say, one would argue, Korean music like APT. I mean, I think the kind of range that you exhibit, and pardon my part ignorance, I think I started following you only thanks to Satyamev Jayate. You said you enjoy live performances, and my God, you were on fire there. And what I really noticed was, it's not just you, the singing. There was also this lead guitarist. And again, when you think of the electric guitar, you have the vision of Slash singing outside the church, Guns N' Roses, right? But here you had Sona Mahapatra in full glory. You had a woman guitarist. You had a woman drummer also, if I'm not mistaken. It's been a few years. So it was an all-woman band really rocking it. And there was inspiration there that, hey, there is anger. There is a cause for which music is now really coming out as poetry, as literature, as a cause. And that sort of had me hooked onto you. Incidentally, that was also a time when my daughter was just born. So there was a very direct correlation with everything that you sang, every single song, every lyric, every word that came out. There was a sense of purpose that, hey, there is an artist here who understands what this world needs to progress to. And that happened. And then, of course, I can carry on talking about the variation. The only line of Punjabi, perhaps, that I can sing as a Malhotra is Surmedi Ki Lord from Ambar Sariya, right? So I think I really have followed your journey, but it pains me as an Indian that our music, despite the kind of range that we are able to produce, does not become as popular as an APT. I mean, what is APT? And why aren't we getting there? Is this bad marketing? Is this leadership going wrong in taking India's music really to the world? Or we don't have an audience abroad?
Can I'd love to be the devil's advocate here, and I'd like to tell you a point of view from both sides, because मुझे मन कर रहा है.
Sure.
Okay. One side is, yes, I truly believe when you think about, if I were to share a vision, I think in the future, India's exports should not be limited to technology and services. It will be culture. It should, because I believe India has a vast, and not, when I say culture, art, it's not just music, it's textiles, it's design, it's aesthetic. I'm incidentally wearing handlooms and I love
Music will go without tariffs, if that is any advantage for us.
We'll talk about tariffs too, because I said, you know, sometimes we are made to only talk about this womanly feeling wala topics. I mean, I could expound on, You know, you should check me out on other stuff too someday, not here. Coming back to this, I want to answer this question because it is a very interesting question. So I believe while, you know, I think India has a very powerful soft power to export it, we do tend to lack in marketing and packaging. And I mean, all these cases in point are this Prada picking up our Kolhapuri chappals. And also it is not, there is also a caste system in place that plays out in the world. They like to be very woke to lecture us about, you know, egalitarian societies, but somewhere inherently, I think it's very different when a Prada puts out a Kolhapuri chappal. They are unlikely to, you know, bind. And of course, there are exceptions. I think whiskey brands are now making their mark in the Scottish.
Yeah, you've got
hegemony.
Rampur, you've got
So
Kindri,
there are
you've got so many
exceptions.
Indian whiskies.
But now I'll tell you the opposite of all of this. So yes, we could. We had Pandit Ravi Shankar, we had Ustad Zakir Khan Saab, we have had the
so I think in
classical
recent
arts,
times,
you know,
in
which
recent
have
times.
done their, you know, thing of introducing Indian culture. You had the swirl of a Kathak dance. I think we're unparalleled when it comes to a length and breadth of the arts which can go. And it has happened in the past in a certain way. But when you are bringing up, now I'll flip it. You're talking about Korean, and they've really, I mean, I was clued in for a small time into their soaps also. And I watched some really soppy ones and some really cool, edgy ones. And I figured that these guys have really cracked it when it comes to storytelling. And they seem to do the Indian value and belief systems much better than we are doing. So that's a whole different situation, topic that we should have about the content creation. You know, I would love to talk about it. I, in fact, bleed when I watch these Korean shows and I see that their clothes have become costumes. Only in a wedding would you see a Korean outfit being worn by the in-laws or a mother-in-law. It's all become generic. Everybody is dressed in, they could be in America or Europe. It's so generic. It's so beautiful. Your sari is not a costume. You're wearing it like you would wear it, you know. You don't have to wear it during Diwali only. So for me, I just feel to be able to create a market and make that extra money, in the bargain you lose your identity. I think we have enough and more to sell and, you know, create business opportunities with our music in India itself to start with. And the something, it's a little overrated when we are dying to sell our wares to the West or get their approval or say that we've done this crossover. I have believed that we have enough and more. In fact, if we don't watch out, we too will lose our love for our clothes, you know, what makes my jewelry special. If I walk down London this way, I'll be like some joker because, you know, there it has to be minimalistic and as generically patla and tiny and, right? We have our, whether it's the Middle East or whether it's India, we love our heavily cold eyes. We like to be a little OTT. The colors are chaotic and that's glorious. I don't necessarily, and now, you know, coming down to the tariffs thing, strangely, what I understand, and I read it in one of your things which came out in one of your, what do you call it, those digital reels?
Reels, videos.
Yeah, I'm having brain fog, you know, at this time. But in some way, it's the fact that we are such a overpopulated country, but we don't seem to have created enough of labor-intensive manufacturing, which is likely to therefore suddenly hit us hard because of these tariffs. Okay, we will be hit somewhat.
Right. So I think, you know, those are the sectors which are under consideration because our textile, our leather, our gems and jewelry, which are labor intensive, are the ones that the government is stating it wants to protect by way of the tariffs. So, so I hear you. I think what I really wanted to move to culminate this topic of Indian music going global. Are you in agreement with the Ed Sheeran way, Sapphire, one line by Arijit Singh repeated, followed by maybe another 3 line? Is that something that you think is a good window to get recognition for your art?
If I could add
If I
to that
can twist
question,
it, I'll say,
Listen,
would you be
I
willing to do
attended
that
Arijit
in a
Singh's-
Taylor Swift song, for example?
I attended Arijit Singh's concert in Manchester just a few months ago. He had an arena full. And I was very proud of the fact that unlike some of his predecessors in the mainstream, you know, who didn't have the vision of that scale, he has had the vision where he wants to have this big production, and there is this whole diaspora who's probably just recently come in, and their way of connecting back to their country, it's like, you know, somebody working in the salon, somebody, young kids who are connecting back to their country by attending Arijit's concert. And when they are attending Arijit's concert, they're also fantasizing about Deepika Padukone, they're also seeing Ranbir Kapoor flash. For them, it's like Bollywood is a thing of connection in a different way. And he filled up a whole arena, and now he's filling up a stadium in a month's time.
Of course.
I don't think that stadium is going to have any Goras because of Sapphire.
But I have to ask you about this, Sona, that these are changing times. We are now looking at OTT platforms, music being created over there, fresh music being put out over there. We are living in AI times. Do we even need musicians? Because now AI is creating music.
Yeah, I mean,
I'll straight up give you an answer. Absolutely. You cannot do without I went to the Synapse conclave a couple of months ago, which was around AI. They had a robot who was singing and answering and very, very impressive. And everybody was very chuffed with this new thing, you know. And I was on a panel there with a whole bunch of men. And I didn't have to answer. I just stood up and sang. I mean, if that's my cue to sing now, I'm not sure if it is. You cannot replace a human creative. To this extent, I'll give you a very real-life example. I have been experimenting with AI and creating music videos much before people even figured it out 3 years ago. And it's been exciting as a tool because as an independent musician, you don't have the budgets always, and you want to tell your story and you need visuals. Now, and it was quite exciting on my pages, and I was able to put out music which was easier to therefore visualize. 2.5, 3 years later, people just reject an AI image, you know. I, for example, had a point of view on that woman. Why was she so Firangi standing there? I mean, she neither looks like a Middle East woman, nor does she look like an Indian. Ek to uske hips nahi hai. We are nice and curvy, I think, on our side of things, and that's an AI image. And I just subconsciously said, okay, somebody's missed out on the fact that she doesn't even look Indian. So those nuances when it comes to creativity are totally lost when you try and generate lyrics and music on AI. And I've tried it, let me tell you. So I don't think we are getting replaced when it comes to musicians. Yes, generic stuff. You want to create a little ad for News9 on 10-seconder, and you want to put some background music, and you want to circumvent copyrights, because what I understand, the scary part is people have been acquiring catalogs, all the big artists' catalogs, just so that they feed it into AI. And it's very dangerous. They feed it into AI because they have the rights, and then they train that model and the machine or the monster to make similar derivative stuff. And then you get derivative music, and then it's telling on your taste buds,
Yes.
if that's what you like to hear. Because coming back to close the loop, when I go to an Arijit concert and come out, I'm never overwhelmed, because it's not my choice is, I get 3,000 people. And in Mahotsavs and in the heartland of India, I even get 5 lakh people. So me as a storyteller and as an artist, my form and my storytelling and my music is totally different. And there are different strokes for different folks. And people have a very evolved taste bud, set of taste buds when it comes to music in India. I think we are a very, very evolved audience. We recognize वो जो trendy singers आते हैं ना, जो ट्रेंड करते हैं इंस्टाग्राम के रील्स में, वो 2 दिन में निकल जाते हैं. 2 साल 3 साल का उनका शेल्फ लाइफ होता है. It doesn't go on to make you an artist. And Indians in particular truly love the wait. When you hear a Shreya Ghoshal sing, it's become the Shreya Ghoshal show. The Indian Idol show is her show. And you realize when it comes to mainstream music, when it comes to that Lata ji, Asha ji's legacy, she's carrying it note to note. She's mesmerizing. She has the most beautiful voice. And she does the most complicated things. And it is only in India, in our part of this and our subcontinent, where such complex singing, you know, which is classical based, is mainstream pop music. Any other part of the world, you don't have Mohammad Rafi, Shankar Mahadevan, Shreya Ghoshal, all these very tayyar singers who are singing in the mainstream. When it comes to the pop music, it's simplistic music. And we need to remember, I believe, as artists, there are a lot of my friends who would be listening to a lot of English music, and they believe the true artist is somebody who's a singer, songwriter. Do you write your own songs? And somewhere you would try and diminish who I am by telling me that, oh, Ram Sampath composes most of your songs, so you don't compose. And I'm like, you know what I do? What an Indian singer does is a lifetime of sadhana, and the kind of complexities we deliver in the storytelling and in the actual craft. I don't have to be that coffee before poo-poo type of guitar strumming 4 chords and singing 4 lines. And I mean, kudos to that kind of music and, you know, the one who's writing those lyrics and expressing. This is a different form. Let's respect both of them.
Absolutely.
And let's not put down one to celebrate the other, because again, that is about, you know, looking westwards for validation. It's for looking towards the West to give us Oscar mil gaya to hamare dhanya ho gaye. Why? I don't need a Grammy to, I don't think Shreya Ghoshal needs a Grammy to justify anything.
Do you think there's a disadvantage to Indian singers, Indian artists, because the songs that we compose and the songs we sing are not in English language, mostly? For us to discover a global audience.
If you make an English show on OTT, they have a market of some 156 countries to sell to. So the budgets, the scale, just the returns. But if you look at you know, which is why the lens you look at with is the most important. That lens is a business lens, and it is a valid one. So if it is my natural storytelling, and I think India has a huge and a very authentic English speaking, you know, and from what I understand, we have 1.4 billion people. We have 25 million who are in this, who are equivalent to the rich, privileged, everybody around the world. We have 1 billion who is, oh my God, listening to the kind of music that I just discovered in my last trip to Manali. Khet pe kood gayo re and pel liyo re, and I was like, these are top 10 in YouTube, I must check them out. And I said, okay, this is another universe, it's another world, and it's a valid one. Somebody is getting their rocks off listening to that and making that.
Do you think Bedardi Raja would have also been discovered by some people in the same way that you're referring to this song as?
Bedardi Raja, I was going to mention when you said your daughter, I was, you know, even when I sing a song like Bedardi Raja, the story I'm telling is not that, you know, Kothe ka gana hai. It's a woman on top. She's enjoying her sexuality. She is not necessarily, I mean, I'm not doing this to, the story I was telling, and I have nothing against, I could be in the mood to seduce you. I'll sing you a song from that perspective. You know, I can even sing Baahon Mein Chale Aao, which is pristine, angelic Lata ji from a perspective of seduction. But Bedardi Raja is a woman on top and having a ball and having no embarrassment or shame around it. And for me, it's an empowerment of a song. And I remember saying this in some place, and Swara Bhaskar made some disparaging. She says she's intellectualizing even a simple item song. I was like, it's very limited if you see it as an item song. If you've seen the video, I'm playing a bass guitar with a sari and a choti with a flower with boots. I'm having a ball. And at that point of time, everybody used to tell me, आप लूज रखिए बाल, आप बिल्कुल कटरीना दिखती हैं, and I used to find it very offensive, you know, because everybody looks like everybody else, and more so in the recent past, में सबने क्या क्या डाल रखे हैं, सब एक दूसरे, I can't really recognize one from the other. And that point of time, कटरीना दिखती हूँ, I do not want to look like that and keep my lips open and plump and, you know, so pretty and neutral and flowy, and there's a look, you know.
But
and
that would have
she is a
gone with
very
the
smart
flavor.
woman. This is not to disparage her. But I chose Bedardi Raja का look की चोटी और फूल और लाल साड़ी and देसी कपड़े पहनना ना आप uncool हो जाते हो वो phase में. अभी
But
suddenly
you made
cool हो गया.
Uncool
That
the
is
coolest
breaking
with
the
that song.
stereotype.
But I think you said you had a ball doing that song. If I were to sort of, you know, rank the songs that I feel you've had a ball in, was Coke Studio Rangabati. How did you do that song? That was something else. How many languages? It was primarily Odia. And
It's a
then there's
Sambalpuri
also-
song, and I get a lot of love and a lot of flack up till now for that song. I mean, मेरे पुतलियाँ जलाए गए थे.
Why? Why do you get
And
flack
it
for it?
became this big controversy, and I think it was very important for artists to create controversies and to create a conversation and a dialogue and a debate, because that's what fuels thoughts and changes in attitudes. Because you had the trads sitting on television channels telling that उसने भ्रष्ट कर दिया गाना, लाल लिपस्टिक पहना है, पेट दिखाया है, I was Ranga, not knowing that in that language, Ranga is a transgender. So somebody took offense about that. I'm like, what's wrong with transgenders anyway? So I had so many conversations, which and also got me a 2 crore criminal liability of a suit. I'm still fighting a case on Rangabati. There are 183 versions, but because Sundar Kanya has got all the attention, मैं खुद को सुंदर बोलना बहुत important है. By the way, लड़कियाँ, please note. It became like some kind of a crazy explosion back in Orissa. And you know, I was smarting about my journey as an artist when it comes to Orissa. This was my 10th year as an artist. And in those 10 years, Orissa, as a land I deeply love, but I won't say the same of many other things, you know, which are very complex there, because I did my engineering in Orissa eventually, and I had a terrible, terrible time. It was very misogynistic. It was, I mean, I was stabbed. I stood for elections, and I've had quite a life learning journey there. But in 10 years, I would see छोटे मोटे कोई reality show में कोई कुछ जीत जाता है ओडिशा का, वहाँ पे उनके गांव में they will make a road, they will give him a hospital in his mother's name, घर बना देंगे. But मैं 10 साल से album release कर रही हूँ. I am calling myself ओडिशा की ladki, which is not giving me any laddus there, because they never call me back. They neither celebrate me, nor they are somehow out to put me in my place. And that Rangabati became that turning point where I had the youth on my side, then I had the traditional people saying ki she is ruining our culture. So this culture word is very, very, and I believe culture is meant to be vital. It's not, it's meant to be aggravated, it's meant to be poked, it's meant to be revisited, you know, questioned, challenged, because that is when you're becoming relevant for a newer generation. You can't just sit and say, ऐसे था और ऐसे होना चाहिए, you know.
But you have always been subjected to a lot of trolling, these attacks, these defamation cases. Do you think being a woman, especially in this industry, is important to turn thick skin?
मैं बताऊं, woman हो या man हो, personality को थोड़ा फीका रखो इंडिया में. Stay in your hierarchy. The caste system is deeply ingrained, and obviously as a woman, the obvious thing is it is a system which is, you know, very, it's definitely a boys' club, but not to say that the country per se, I think, I think it's in a good place, because, you know, I travel to the interiors of India. Yes. And I feel the privilege of doing that, because many of my artist counterparts don't like to take those 7-hour road journeys to go to a Mahotsav. I have seen India transform when it comes to even women attending those 2 lakh wala concerts, where it would be too scary for women to step out after 6 o'clock, you know. And now you see young women, men comfortable with each other, talking with a certain ease, coming and telling me about how they like the way I wear a sari because I wear a shirt and I wear boots, and you know, they are commenting. Young boys are telling me about my fashion choices and how they tell their sisters to dress more like me. And I think India is in a beautiful place, you know, and I have seen roads change. 4-lane highways come up to a place called Rewa. The hotel that I used to live in now, you know, which used to be like just basic, now is as good as any 3-star or 4-star, and I've really seen infrastructural changes, and I feel extremely proud of, you know, a place like Moradabad. And I went for a show there, and you know, it was just post-pandemic, so whenever I used to go to interior UP, I would always have gunmen, and that was the norm, you know, safety, security, police आएगा हमको. तो यहाँ पे हम लेके गए थे, and just about 20 minutes before the city, there was a pit stop. So food court. When we entered, Ghulam Ali ka pipe music chal raha hai bathroom mein. There are those rope wala lamps. There's a woman giving me some, you know, towel. There's Christmas carols playing. There were couples sitting and having some form of a hot chocolate. You know, I don't want to sound like Bombay snob, but I found it so charming. And you know what, my bouncers and security men, I interviewed them. कि अरे ये क्या हो रहा है आप मुरादाबाद? मैडम आपने फालतू का हमको हायर किया, आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है. अभी ऐसे प्रॉब्लम नहीं होगा आपको यूपी में, आपको ज़रूरत नहीं है सिक्योरिटी की. And the truth is, when I put this up, because our world is so polarized when it comes to, you know, this wings that people are, suddenly, because I put up this video, I became a right-winger, because somehow I was praising Yogi Ji's UP, and which broke my heart. I said, you know, how biased and idiotic are you? You've not taken this trip. I'm celebrating something which is so beautiful
Genuinely good,
and a
yeah.
change about my country, and I should second guess myself because now you want to place me in a wing. And to hell with you if you think I'm part of a wing, so be it. But
And put you in a compartment to keep you in a box in that sense. I wish I could keep on having this conversation with you. There's so much more that we could delve into, but I wouldn't be doing justice if I would let go of you without requesting you to sing a few lines from a song of yours that you feel is going to best fit and suit Sheconomy Summit.
Dekho, I'm counting on, I've created 3 IPs, stage IPs, because I don't count on my rosy roti on Bollywood ki ek bheek mil jaye, ek release mil jaye to meri life ban jaye. So there are 3 experiences that I've created. One is called the Lalpari Mastani Show, with the 7 stages of love songs of these 7 stages. It comes from Persian literature, so it's a mehfil kind of a big production. There's a show called Sonami. And there's a show called Sona Tarasha, which is again in 5 chapters, which is the India experience. The reason why I'm plugging this in, or it seems I'm plugging it in, is because I believe that stagecraft and technology and music and Indian aesthetics need to come together at a certain standard for us to actually go global, you know. And not just think that वो कचरा type of sound और कुछ भी एक PT dance कर रहे हैं और वो जाके it will compete with the world-class productions. So this mic is really not meant for singing, just to clarify, because I can barely get a fallback of even what I'm talking. But आपने शुरुआत की थी मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया बोल के, और आप एक news channel हो, तो I would like to just put a spotlight on the fact that while we think female feticide numbers have come down, we are in a much better place, things are happening for the better. When you, again, it was a News 9 blurb that I heard, that there are some 4,000 dowry cases reported and so many unreported just in UP. There are 300 deaths annually. So unreported kitne honge? And just off late it's been in the news that yet another dowry death yet. And just when I thought this song should be put to rest and it is irrelevant in these times, it's really not. So let me end this evening and thank you all for being such a wonderful audience and for hosting me by saying that I hope things change, and I think art has a role to comfort and to create beauty, but art also has a duty to confront. And I want to be that artist who confronts matters. These are uncool things to sing about. बाबुल प्यारे सजन सखारे सुनो मेरी मैया, बोझ नहीं मैं किसी के सर का, ना मझधार में नैया, पतवार बनूंगी लहरों से लड़ूंगी, अरे हो अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया, हो अरे मुझे क्या बेचेगा रुपया, हो. So just to tell you, I was meant to come to the Middle East sometime last month for some kind of a mini tour. There was a 3-day tour, but that didn't work out. But I'm really looking forward to coming here and playing. You know, they've built incredible infrastructure. It's such a joy to see the fact that it's made so much progress when it comes to women. I know the obvious that women drive. I know that they are tuned into creating legislation. I think there's 50% of a reservation for women in the legislators, the assembly. I also know that they are dominant when it comes to the public sector as well as STEM education. That's just amazing. But I do hope to honor the journey that is ahead because there's lots more to go. I hope to be part of this landscape as an artist, bringing my music here, singing to not only the women, but the men of this land, you know? That's when we will really win together. Thank you so much.
On the stage, as I invite our TV9 Managing Director and CEO, Mr. Barun Das, and the founder of Tola and Carrot, Mr. Rajan Goswami, to present to you the She Star Award for Music. Sona Mahapatra is not just a singer, she's a force of nature with a voice that transcends genres from soulful folk to electric pop. Sona Mahapatra has carved her space in India's music industry in her own terms, and beyond the stage, she has been a tireless activist for gender equality and women's rights, fearlessly taking on entrenched systems and sparking national controversies and conversations. Her music inspires, her activism empowers her, and her journey proves that art and advocacy are inseparable. For using her voice as both melody and movement, the She Star Award for Music goes to Sona Mahapatra.